Hi everyone, welcome back to Get Your Deck Out. Ironically, episode 31, the evening after the completion of Worlds 31. It's like we timed it, Scott, or did something special. But hey, Scott, how's it doing? How did you think of this weekend's action? We're going to get straight into it. What a bang of a weekend.
Yeah, it's really surprising to me that we had an actually fresh standard format. We were coming into it without perfect information. Did a team break it? We're not sure yet. I think they didn't like Eldrazi winter it, but I think they definitely found a very solid deck that we're going to see in the meta for a long, long time.
Yeah, we're going to go into everything about Magic Worlds and the excitement we had all weekend. If you are new here and you're on any of the platforms where you can find us, your Spotify, your iTunes, your YouTube, follow Get Your Deck Out everywhere to find us, where we're hot taking, talking about competitive Magic the Gathering. We'll look at the other TCGs, but Magic the Gathering is our home. And we're really excited to be able to actually be excited, because I think we're commonly known as the people on the shorts feed who are having a bit of a moan, but actually I think this is for a change going to be one of those episodes where we're not having a moan. We're just talking about how this deck dominated and what you lot are going to have to do about it.
Yeah, so in terms of win rate from the weekend, it seemed like the biggest outliers, with, I'm going to say, a reasonable sample size, but Mono Red had 3 players, ended at 62.5%. One of those players was Quintanoli, so the data gets kind of skewed by him existing. Voltar Reanimator, just over 60% win rate. Then Izzet Lessons with Monument, 62.6% win rate. Now, the first point I will make was this was Team TCG players deck, and Akira Shibata played it, and I think a couple of other people here and there played it after finding it or very similar to it. The actual Izzet Lessons deck without Monument, so like the one we saw Derek Davis playing in the top 8, that only had a 45.1% win rate. Monument plus Artist's Talent meaningfully improved their win rate. You can argue that that's because people weren't ready for it. People weren't playing Rest in Peace. People weren't playing enough Graveyard Hate or Graveyard Hate at all. But there are a couple of other things you can do against it. But yeah, it's 62.6% win rate is not concerning this early with such a tight field as a World Championship field. But it's obviously a good deck. But it was played by pretty much, 10 of the best 50 players of all time?
Yeah, it's your all the vacuums in the biggest vacuum with the opportunity to do the biggest variance on a mean, isn't it? Like the thing you can kind of take out from this 126 players is you can take out a very big chunk of skill variance, and you can just say that actually no one's going to make silly mistakes, but everyone's going to be like very, very, very finely tuned, so that you need to have looked at all like tiny little meta calls, tiny little turn 7, turn 8 play calls, and be ready to have actually exploited every particular weakness that exists in the current field.
You say not a huge amount of skill diff and all of that stuff. Largely true, but pro players and the best players of all time do make mistakes. It does just happen. Arna Hushenbeth was saying in an interview about how he had his opponent dead on board, cast a Day of Black Sun to make sure, forgetting that it would kill his own lethal attacker, and then lost the game.
Womp womp.
So that's like a horrific mistake that I'm not sure even very, very new players would make. They wouldn't look at it and go, I'm going to cast this spell that kills my own creature. They just attack and just win the game. So shit happens. It is what it is.
The world's atmosphere probably brings that sort of variance back in as well, doesn't it? At the end of the day, like we played multiple just games on the side where we've gone lightning fast, and it's just been like boom, 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 boom. Right, we've done 9 games. It's like 7-2 to you type of thing. Like, it's
like pressure's a real thing as well, though. Like, even Seth Manfield, who, spoilers, ended up winning it and has already won a world championship, so now joins an elite class of 2-time winners. He admitted that this was some of the most nervous he's ever been for a Magic tournament, and that's someone who's played countless Pro Tours, countless GPs, an insane number of matches of Magic played lifetime, and he was nervous.
Yeah, like the overall top 16 of people, if you know Magic the Gathering, you know every single name, and you also know them for their wins. You don't know them for just like their content. You know them for their consistent results, and you know them for being at there and thereabouts. Have touched on the data about like breaking this down. I think like a lot of things to be said is that this is the takeaway out of this weekend is that the thing that they found was broken was pairing 2 cards together to create synergies with this set from many previous sets. And like, I wonder, like, sort of if we look at it, like the actual thing is artist talent, which is effectively the card which does a lot of the enablement, would have been probably at the back end of the development cycle when they knew they were moving to 3 years. So, or am I right in saying that was the start of the 3 years? I think it was the start, right?
The start of the 3 years, I think, yeah.
So, like, is this potentially a call up for what we're going to start seeing in the next few sets and Pro Tours? I had a little bit of the calendar as well, and we've got this kind of window where like a set's going to come out and Pro Tours are going to be about 2 to 3 weeks after it.
I mean, that's the way it should be, right? Give us a new set, let us all experience it for a couple of weeks, do 1 or 2 drafts, play a little bit of standard, have a look, see if that one card we're looking at makes it into modern. And then we all get to sit down with a bit of an understanding, watch the Pro Tour, and really enjoy it, really see what's going on with it, and see what the pros manage to do, whether it's the things that are doing well and challenges just are the best thing, or in this case, the pros found something, kept it under wraps, tested the hell out of it, and all played it to a reasonable clip.
So what is it? Let's talk through exactly what we need to be watching out for now. Clearly, in the next, at least up until Lorwyn Standard, the Izzet Lessons deck, which piloted by Team TCD player. Shout out you guys. Shout out the amazing tokens as well, which is something else. Say this, Cowlin Pardy. We saw you on Twitter. The fact I just assumed this was judges cooking over the weekend, but this was correctly produced by Cowlin herself, and we saw, well, they actually dropped a template on Twitter. You can actually go see my Twitter, Oldemodave. Cowlin's got it on there. We've retweeted it on there. Also a treasure token as well, which is kind of cool to go with it all. And what actually is this interaction? How does it do so well? And like, well, let's think about like, what is Standard not doing for why it was difficult to combat?
So essentially, if you've been living under a rock and you didn't look at the World Championships at all and you're listening to this to get a rundown, the breakout deck of the tournament was this Izzet Lessons deck with Monument to Endurance, which triggers whenever you discard a card, and Artist's Talent, which basically says whenever you cast a non-creature, you can rummage, so discard and then draw. So these 2 cards together, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you discard a card, draw a card, smooth out your draws quite a lot. This triggers your Monument to Endurance. You then either draw a card, make a treasure, or have your opponent lose 3 life. So you can start to see how this can get out of hand. You do it once, you draw the extra card, you're essentially going up on cards, and you're playing the lesson package, so you get Firebending Lesson, which is a mediocre, I'd even go as far as to say, removal spell. Urrow's Demonstration, which is fine. Abandoned Attachments, which is basically just instant speed Tormenting Voice, but is better against counter magic because you only discard on resolution. But then you get to play Gran, or Bragger Gran, as I heard some people calling it over the weekend.
Raggy Granny.
You get to play Combustion Technique, which is functionally Swords to Plowshares.
Yep.
And you get to play Accumulate Wisdom, which is functionally Ancestral Recall. You fill out the rest of the deck with 4 Storm Chasers talent, 4 Boomerang Basics. Boomerang Basics just so happens to be a lesson, and off you go. You draw most of your deck every single game. You chain off, and it's really, really hard to beat if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, we saw a couple of board states, especially when the Otters players ran into it in the top 8, where
Otters got slaughtered on the weekend as well, for what it's worth.
Yeah, they seem to have stabilized, and there's almost a Vivi style return to go like, oh well, I'm going to go from pretty much nothing in hand other than a Storm Chaser's talent on field, and just go get this spell, replay this spell, do this spell to clear the board, and it was probably just as devastating as the good old Vivi turns, but it just meant that like in the current meta that fights against it, you kind of got nothing else. Like, let's just think about if we had sort of, I don't know, a big token generator deck on the other side of the field after like the Lessons deck just went through, removed your board, and you just were like, okay, I'm gonna play a load of stuff. We might have a different story in the upcoming months, but
Iroh's demonstration kill you.
Yeah, but Iroh's demonstration, once you've artist talent as well, you're gonna have to be able to deal with artifacts and enchantments.
I've full disclosure, I was actually really close to this deck list. In fact, I was closer to Derek Davis's deck list before Worlds. I'd identified that the lesson cards were good enough to enable particularly Accumulate Wisdom, because it's just bananas. I was playtesting with my partner, and I handed the card to her, and I said, can you read this and make sure I'm playing this correctly? Because 2 mana, draw 3 just feels incorrect. It feels like I'm doing something wrong. And then I played it on Magic Online, and I drew 3 cards, and I was like, okay, cool, I am doing this right. This is bananas.
I tell you what, though, right? What's really funny, both Magic Online and Magic Arena's interaction, because it's like if I essentially look at the top 3 and get them, there's no like you feel like you need to draw 3 because you are technically drawing 3, but it is just like, there you go, have the cards in your hand, which is like, that felt weird. One mana
doesn't trigger Razorkin Needlehead, won't trigger Orcish Bowmasters if someone's cheating against you and they have that in their standard deck. You know what? Have it. It's fine. So this deck is really powerful. It is really, really good. And more than once, I found myself shaking my head while I was taking a turn, going, this is dumb. I've also had hands where I drew 3 Monument to Endurance and drew nothing else.
Yeah.
I cannot see how Lessons will beat Rest in Peace if there's an uptick in it. Graveyard Hate is the level 1 way to attack this deck, because you need a graveyard to turn on Gran. That feels wrong to say. And also turn on Accumulate Wisdom. You know what? Gran, you can get it. And also turn on Accumulate Wisdom to make it draw 3 instead of just an Anticipate. So that's the level 1, is particularly if you're in white, if you're playing Jeskai Control, which also did really, really well over the weekend, between like Jeskai with Shiko, and Ang. There was one that played Cursed Recording as well to copy a Jeskai Revelation. All sorts of stuff, all did pretty well. So that's one to look at as well. But that deck can play Rest in Peace, and it can play it quite well. That's the level 1. The level 2, which I think is actually more impactful, and this is some secret sauce. This is because I've tested with this deck a hell of a lot, is Planeswalkers are a huge problem for this deck.
Yes, we saw this in the team.
It was in the top 8, wasn't it? Sean Henry, I think, had a Ral at one point.
Ral ticked it up, and because specifically the opposing player could actually chain off three spells, like from a removal perspective, then they managed to deal with it. Yeah. But it had to be a very specific, you get this into this.
And it had to be like, deal with it right now, or this is going to end up being a problem.
Yeah.
And that is any sort of value accrual Planeswalker, which is pretty much all of them at this point. If you're in Dimir, I can't imagine Kaito's super easy for this deck to deal with. If you're playing Izzet yourself, consider some Ral Crackling Wits, same as with Otters. If you're playing Bant Airbending, put the deck back in your bulk box until Lorwyn comes out and your mana doesn't suck because you had a 35% win rate.
That was one of the big horrible moments. We'll come on to like the horrible shockers in a bit.
It's just the mana base sucks. But if you're playing mono red in particular, which is actually pretty well positioned, bit of just gentle hinting there. You'll find out later what that means. Chandra Spark Hunter is really good against this deck. Find your Planeswalker that's in your colours, that is just going to sit there and accrue value. If you're playing Izzet Looting, there's Kaito Cunning Infiltrator as well. So there's a lot of options. And will you sometimes draw it and it's not that good because you don't have a board and your opponent's played 3 Stormchaser's Talon? Yes. By and large, most of the time, this is just a control deck and it operates on accruing value and keeping the board clear. It's the exact same thing as if you go stock up into Day of Judgment, into Shiko, recast a removal spell. It basically plays really similarly to that. It just does it in kind of a combo-y, go over the top nature.
Yeah, I noticed this when sort of trying it a little bit online there. I won games and I suddenly, my opponent stopped doing stuff and I had leveled up I'd leveled up my artist talent and I had a monument to endurance, and then suddenly I was hitting them for 5 every spell, which was like the crazy there's a crazy thing. So I hit them for 3.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hit them for 3. I literally picked a number out there, and I picked a number out of the air there.
Yeah, so that is actually relevant though. That is a play that's only legal in paper to make your opponent lose 5 life with a monument. Monument is each opponent loses 3 life. Artist talent level 3 increases damage dealt. So do not let your opponents say you lose 5 life off your monument to endurance. But also be really careful with this deck. There's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of things to remember. This may be more complex than Vivi in terms of game decisions and tracking with some of those tokens. Like for the monument to endurance, consider getting the things where it's, I have drawn a card, I have made a treasure, I have had you lose 3 life. Have those things. When you're playing spells, don't put them straight in the graveyard because you'll just forget to resolve them. Put it in the middle. Say, right, I'm going to do this. This is going to trigger Artist Talent. I'm going to resolve Artist Talent. Boop, boop. Right, I have a Monument to Endurance trigger. I'm going to resolve that. I'm going to choose draw a card. I'm going to draw a card. There's this spell right in the middle of the board. I'm going to resolve my Accumulate Wisdom, put the top 3 into my hand. Like, be mechanical, but also you need to play quite quickly because sometimes these decks can get into a state where you're just being really grimy and really grindy. We saw it with Seth Manfield winning with 0 cards in library. You do need to be careful with the resources that you've got left.
Yeah, as a deck, it is a lot of things going on, and yes, we're living in a Zuma world where our online clients do it all for us. You will have to be quite meticulous when playing in paper, and yeah, like even just like what I was talking about there with the artist talent, like the level up is really significant for making sure that you're getting the best value out of your IROS demonstrations. Because again, like you're gonna have board states where you're gonna have little 1/1s and 2/3s, and you're gonna be playing so like Simic or Boroid, where like you're gonna get quite a bit of value there, like out of all your damage. So,
but you're also gonna need to track how much damage there is marked on stuff, because you might do what I had to do at one point, which was I started off the turn casting an IROS demonstration on the deal 1 to all mode because I thought, oh well, I'm going to deal with this 1/1, that's fine. And then dig. Oh, I found my other IROS demonstration. I can now use this one to kill the X2s as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that sort of thing is a lot of I've played against a lot of people playing it online. It's not a simple deck. It's not an easy deck to just pick up and play. You need to get your reps on it. You need to learn it. You need to learn when do you flick that switch and go from drawing a card every time with your monument to draining your opponent. You need to practice this and you need to learn it if you are going to play it. And if you're going to beat it, I recommend playing it because then you see how things go wrong.
Do you
You
think
see why Graveyard Hate's good. You see why Planeswalkers are so difficult to deal with, that sort of thing.
Do you think this deck has nicely sort of like the big meme is that is it again? Like is it unstoppable? But do you think it's like the intention with a spell slinging is it deck like this and like a spell slinging control in a way that this is? The intention is make it good but make it skill intensive so that like
No,
this is
because they can't predict that.
but a lot of this is avatar though.
But people talk about this shit like they're not designing 2 years out. They don't know what got banned. When they were designing all of these cards, they don't know what got banned. They don't know what's good. They don't know what they've come in slightly too high with or slightly too low with. They might have thought, Accumulate Wisdom's really powerful, but all the removal's unplayable garbage because we're all playing green 4-drops and Firebending Lessons useless. It doesn't kill anything because all the 2-drops we're making now are 2/3s. And Combustion Technique, yeah, it's good, but to enable it, you need to play Firebending Lesson, and people aren't playing Firebending Lesson. At first glance, all the power in the lessons for me was in the green ones, because we have Rampant Growth and Harrow. Those are really powerful ramp cards. So
You don't really have any payoffs yet, though, right? That's the only real problem with those.
Dragonback Assault's a pretty fucking hefty payoff.
True. We're all kind of like blinded by Tifa's abilities.
A lovely pair of abilities, yes.
And doing that deck, I guess, instead. Yeah, no, I see. You're right.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, people were like, "Oh, dude, it's a problem. We need to ban it." Shut up.
Yeah, I don't think you. I run this deck.
No one was ready for it.
I run this deck into the ladder, not knowing what I was doing. It took me 3 games to go, oh, actually, that's where you're supposed to play it. It's not spam things onto the board, win regardless. Like there's gonna be a lot there. Yes, there is plans, but yeah, if you can just board Enchantment Hate, Artifact Hate,
yeah, just play a Rest in Peace. Like they're gonna really struggle. Like
what are they removing? They're not removing Rest in Peace. Like if you look at like
you have to Boomerang Basics it and then counter it on the way back down.
Yeah, or a null, you're one of a null, or one of a negate that you boarded in. Like, and
I also think some of the sideboards for this deck were whack as hell. But
this was small field predictive stuff, though, isn't it? Like, I think you have
I think I genuinely they sounded so confident in this deck, and rightly so. With a 63% win rate, that is like meaningful. I wouldn't be surprised if the small differences in these lists are because they're expecting to play against each other. And Annul, for example, pretty good against Izzet Lessons. It counters pretty much everything that matters, right? It counters Stormchaser's talent, it counters Artist talent, and Monument. So 1 Annul feels too low. So I'd probably go up on that. 1 Negate, again, as I said, Planeswalkers are a huge problem. Some of them were playing Ghost Vacuum, some of them were playing Soul Guide Lantern, some people had 3 Quantum Riddlers, some people had 2. There was 1 Spider Sense in all of these sideboards, and that card still smells, in my opinion. Price of Freedom is in the sideboards of these decks. For what? For what in particular? Destroying your opponent's Agna Kala? Like,
it's your version of a braid, right? They're gonna try and get your Monument to Endurance.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Just play fucking a braid, man. Like, why are we playing sorcery speed ramp you? Oh, but I get to draw a card and it's a lesson. I wouldn't be playing this because it destroys artifacts. I'm playing it because it destroys lands. And I'm thinking, right, what lands do we have in the format that accrue stupid value? I can imagine killing a Restless Reef or a Restless Anchorage with it is reasonable.
Do you think with that in mind, like, we're seeing the deck that was the deck for the World Champs, and we're going to probably end up seeing a final form that is a little bit adjusted from this, potentially bringing a couple of creatures back in, like Nathan's card, I think is a good example, because ultimately that's a draw and discard if you still want to do the broken thing. Like, have we got room to maybe trim on some of these lessons, or is that going to be a wrong
No.
thing to do?
No. Every single time I sideboard with it, it feels harder and harder because less of it feels cuttable. Like, even Seth Manfield was playing 3 boomerang basics. I mean, I personally don't really like it very much, but hey ho, it is what it is. Some of them are playing 21 lands, some of them are playing 22 lands. I started with 21, hated it, immediately went to 22. But that's just how I build decks. I normally look at a deck list and go, yeah, cut a 4-drop, add a land. One It'll Quencher in Seth's main board. Like, these will get refined, and especially the sideboards, there's a lot of options in blue-red, so be ready, keep up to date, keep looking at lists. Shout out Bamzing on Reddit, posts a lot of metagame challenges for Modern. I don't know if anyone does it for Standard, but if you go on MTG Top 8, go to Standard, it shows you League results, it shows you Challenge results. So little bit of effort and you can put the work in yourself.
Yeah, we see it a lot with like, again, we always mention this name, but Optimus Tom always picks up sort of a Standard Pioneer like leg on that sort of data point, and the data was very intriguing all weekend, and I think that as soon as they finally broke out the Izzet Lessons data to show the difference between the two decks, it really made us all realize that the key thing is the artist talent monument to endurance link.
I don't know if it even is, though. That's the thing. I think if people are ready for that, then it will meaningfully change their matchup spread. If more people are playing Razor Needlehead, more people are playing a Braid, that sort of thing.
Mage Bane Lizards is another thing.
Yeah, sure. People just weren't ready for it, and that's why it had an outsized win rate. I wouldn't be surprised for this to land at like 54% overall, like be the best deck in the format or one of the best decks in the format, but I'd be surprised if it ends up being enough of a problem, at least right now, like with our view into the format, for it to just be immediately banned and immediately a problem like Vivi was.
Well, the deck might have just banned itself by the way that artist talent spiked globally overnight. I think that's was a worthwhile bit of Magic entertainment all weekend. We were talking Friday night about 9 o'clock, and based on that timing, I think you snagged a play set for about £10 each at that point when you snagged them.
I got one for 12 quid. Shout out someone
€15 for our American friends. We know you're out there according to the stats.
On Card Market, I had one order €7 and €9. One order that was €8 and €10. So significantly cheaper than they are now. I've got faith in one of those packages arriving. The other one has not been posted, and the person tried to cancel it, claiming that they're going on holiday.
Yeah, okie dokie, friend. But there was a screenshot that I then posted in our same Discord, which had the bottom end price in the UK at £34 a card at one point. There was a point where there was nothing even getting sold. I guess a load of people probably pulled it and went, let's see where this goes. Nothing's available left on eBay, but we're chatting, and ultimately, yes, this is definitely the right level of hype. The card is, even at time of recording, on its way back down from a bottom end of card market perspective.
It's down to like 18-20 quid a card. Like,
and ultimately, this deck will be good. If
don't pay £20 for an artist talent though. Don't buy these artist talents for like 18-20 quid each.
Please chill. Please play on Arena. If you are going to come and play some of our qualifiers, though, for our Invitational Challenge over the next couple of weeks, maybe pick a deck that you already have, because you probably are better on it at this particular moment in time.
For sure.
Into the field.
And use everything that you've learned from me blabbing on for 25 minutes straight about this deck to beat it, because it is beatable. It's not... I'm not playing Legacy Delver in Standard. Obviously, it makes for good headlines. It makes for people shouting on Reddit and Twitter and all of that, and it makes for good engagement. Same thing with the Seth Manfield thing with the takebacks. People need to just slow their roll, chill out. If you look at the MTR, which is the Magic Tournament Rules document, everything that happened with Seth was above board and absolutely fine. Stop saying he's a cheater. Stop saying the judges are inept. None of you could do a better job than any of those judges or any of those players. That's why you're sitting at home on your ass watching on Twitch like the rest of us, and they're out there in the trenches playing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was.
Yeah, that'll be a good short.
That was some discourse, and I tell you what, we've been around the discourse recently, and you know what? Read the rules, give everyone fair play, and I really liked the take that was everywhere. It was how would you answer this question on an F&M? Like, how would you answer?
Yeah.
Every single time your answer would have been like you would have done the best thing possible.
This is the thing I love is I've not been fortunate enough to play on a Pro Tour yet. I hope to get there one day. Will it happen? Who knows? As far as I understand it, the higher the level of play gets, the more chill everyone is. If you're playing at an RCQ, it's like you're playing against the most like mouth-breathing, angle-shooting arseholes who will do everything in their power to get a win over you. And then you get to the World Championships and everyone's just like chill and having fun. Yeah, they're a little bit stressed. They're maybe a little bit more pent up and like really trying hard to win the game. But after the game, if you're like, man, that was a really insane match, they're going to sit and have a chat with you. Like they're not going to go, no, I think you got really lucky and then storm away.
Oh, do you know what? There's nothing. I'll get on my little soapbox for the for the algorithm here and just say my thing that I can't stand, and I bite my tongue, and I think this upcoming RCQ season, I might even just now we have a miniature platform. I might even put a post-it up of someone's face if it was them. Is when you play me and you literally nut draw me on turn 3, turn 4, and I grind and survive till turn 9, but you get there, you got lucky. Or your deck did its thing. When I then sideboard and then your deck stops doing its thing, it's because I sideboarded well, and that's all that matters. I didn't get lucky because I had all the removal, because I didn't fucking have it game 1.
Yeah, so I've sided in 12 cards. Like it.
Yeah, so like that you are right about the sort of mentality of it. I do appreciate people are trying to grind, they're trying to get there, but
I know,
like,
but if you're
understand the
grinding
rules
in that
though.
way, yeah, read them and understand them.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a big massive point of actually slowing people's games down this coming RCQ season to go right. You're going to slow right down, mate, because is everything in the rules says I can be as much of a boomer as I want in all of this, and you need to chill.
Yeah, it's people just need to relax a bit more. We're playing a fucking game. I understand that there's a lot of money on the line at the World Championships, and like quite a lot of money. No one in Twitch chat was winning that money, but when they let Seth take back like 2 or 3 things, which was all above board, we don't know what was said across the table. We don't know what the judges said. We don't know what Seth's opponent said. We know none of this. Yet people are casting wild accusations that Seth Manfield's a cheater when he's been playing professional Magic for 17 years? What is your line of thinking? What are you trying to have happen here? What is the intention? Are you just bitching? Are you just doing the typical social media thing of, wow, I don't like it, my opinion's important, when in reality, most opinions are a bit shit, and that includes ours. The only reason you're listening to this podcast right now, and I'm talking to you, dear listener, is you like the sound of our voices, and sometimes you agree with us, sometimes you sit there and think we're being idiots. That's the beauty of listening to a podcast.
Yeah, we saw the echo chamber though of what everyone experiences at the local LGS level, I think, and that's the thing. Like there was also
we've experienced it both as TOs and as players.
Also, the one there was one situation with Sean Henry, the Osses, where like he tapped his otters and started lining up his mana, like how he was going to split his mana, hadn't moved through yet, but then changed his mind and
Yeah,
just double.
perfectly legal.
But he also double checked that he's allowed to, and there was something in his wording, was something on the lines of, because some people get shitty about this or something like that. There was like a little, and I'm like, yeah, who cares if they get shitty? The rules say you can do it,
No,
but
but also that is the correct thing to do. Double check.
true, yeah.
Check with the judge is there to help you. The judge is there to make you have a fun experience and have a good day. And that's if I'm judging a Sunday pre-release and I'm sitting there eating a chicken burger with my feet up on the table, laughing at people and looking at people's pools and joking around with my friends, walking over in the middle of the games and leaning over and like looking at the cards in people's hands because I'm interested. I'm like, oh, let's see what's going on here. Or if I'm in the finals of an RCQ, if I'm in the top 8 of an RCQ and you're leaning over in front of me and looking at my hand, maybe don't do that. Maybe read the room a little bit. But if I win my match and I talk to my opponent a bit, or normally for me, if I'm in the top 8, I lose my match. That's the more common occurrence. And I'm talking to my opponent about the matchup and things like that. Like, for example, I lost to Liam Taylor-Collins in one of our RCQs after beating them in the Swiss. They said, I really learnt a lot from a match in the Swiss. It really helped me like get more familiar with the matchup, and I used that knowledge to do things differently in the second match that we played, and it ended up working out for them. They're a really good player. I'm not surprised it worked out well for them. And yeah, we had a really nice chat about it. And then one of my friends came over and was talking to me about it, and they were like, oh, do you not think that was like a bit weird? And I was like, well, why would it be weird? Like, we were talking about the match, we were talking about the games. Like, they're not saying it to be arrogant, they're not saying it to be, there's no underhandedness there. They're just chatting. And the same way that like with Seth's takebacks, there wasn't underhandedness. He was nervous, he made a mistake. I'd love to see anyone in that Twitch chat play the deck and make fewer mistakes than he did.
So Twitch chat, that's our little challenge for the week for you.
Yeah, shout out Twitch chat. I always turn you off whenever I turn on a stream.
So it's definitely an experience to watch. But it was great to see a breakout deck. It was great to see the pros cut to the top. It was great to see quality rise to the top. But we'll just probably touch on some of the shockers. Let's go to Team Otters. I actually don't think that was a shocker. I think that was it performed about as good as it could perform with the picks that were which were there. I think it showed enough. The deck showed enough in its ability that, again, with a little bit of a meta tweak here, a little bit of a meta tweak there, it's with the Bajmal Curve and the Boomerang Basics, it's definitely got an opportunity to be a strong combo deck going forward.
Yeah, the deck is good. It's just it had a really rough Lessons matchup in particular, and it's doing really powerful things. It's doing, frankly, like pretty absurd things between Song of Totem Tants, giving everything haste, generating mana by itself, like being a ritual. Bajamol Cub just by itself is just a really, really, really good magic card. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it become even tier 1, solid tier 2 of the meta with, as you said, slightly different build, maybe different sideboard cards, who knows. But maybe they play more Rowls because they're so good against the Lessons deck. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not concerned about his win rate. If it ends up dying off, then fine. I understand.
But yeah, it'll be because of a massive shift in like timing. At the moment, with the Team Autos deck, you kind of need about turn 6. Like I'd say to do a thing, you need to set it up a little. Like I think the quickest you can physically do it is about turn 4, potentially turn 3 on an absolute nut draw. But yeah, if the meta shifted in that direction, it even can beat essentially an Ouroboros deck, which at the moment was supposed to be the quick spam deck, which absolutely, in UK terminology, got shit on this weekend. In its current build of Simic, but once again, Scotty gets the ring of the bell and the like he told you so moment, because Golgario Arboroid basically came out to the of all the builds came out to the top.
Yeah, I told you the Simic deck sucked, and you didn't listen to me. I said, I don't know why we're playing blue. The green cards are great. Badgermole card, Llanowar Elves, even Gene Pollinator, Uraboroid, Innkeeper's Talent, that sort of thing. They're all really good. Why are we playing Spyglass Siren, bro? And you're like, oh, but you can use it with Jackal and like get an extra counter, and then you can use that, and then you can play Mockingbird. And I was like, I don't care.
I do love my Jackal. I will say about the list. So Carl Swap's list. Carl, I believe, is somewhere in the top 16. Very high win rate for the constructed part. I think it's another great example from a list perspective. I don't think this eventual list is where we end. Like one of this, one of that, one of that. It's very well tuned to testing. For example, we've got one Tyvar Pablo, one Call the Face Stealer, which I believe is the Avatar card. You got one Foes Bane Troll. You got one Damage Control Crew. All of this feels very techy. I think we'll probably end somewhere where things are a little bit more 4 of, 2 of. But you're right. Like Shoot the Sheriff, you've shot on nature's rhythm in these decks openly in the past. I still think, as it currently stands, is probably the best thing you can do to go get the cards you need. But we are, as has been highlighted with JD again, was right at the top. His card coming in Lorwyn will probably show up this type of archetype again, because that means then you can play all the 1-drop, 2-drop mana enablers, and all you got to do on your turn 2 when you're playing it is you've just got to discard one of the useless pieces so that you can go and get the stuff that's important.
Yeah, it kind of does like a Huntsman's Redemption impression, right? Where you go turn 1, Llanowar Elves, turn 2, 3-drop that finds my busted thing. And I'm surprised we don't have Huntsman's Redemption in these decks. You go turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Huntsman's Redemption, make a 3/3, untap, draw, float the mana off the Llanowar Elves, sack it, go find a land, play the Uraboroid, off we go.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I think it's a consideration that it could be looking at. I want to see this deck find its feet again. These builds will refine themselves, they'll adjust a little.
But that's the best thing about the timing of this tournament, right? Is we've looked at every single one of these decks, including the one that ran away with the tournament and won the tournament, and we're like, yeah, it could do with some refinement. Yeah, we're going to see where it develops. This is what we used to have when there was GPs every weekend, Dave. I know you weren't around for that.
But
it was week in, week out. There was different developments happening, and then there was a development of a development, and then people reacting to that. And it's why you saw people like Brad Nelson and Jerry Thompson doing so well, is they were always one step ahead of their own innovations. So they'd make an innovation one weekend, win the tournament. Everyone else would copy that innovation for the next week, and they'd respond to their own innovation and then win another tournament. And it would march on in that sort of way. And then you'd have breakout performances. Someone would try something and it turns out to be really, really good. I miss it.
Yeah. I think just to sort of bookend Golgari doing well, which if there was good black removal, these decks might have had they might have had a bit more of a chance. But then again, there is black removal, whether that's just a case of we're not building for it right yet or not. But you saw Golgari Dragons also do a thing. I think that's another great example of just big strong cards with big strong backup cards doing well. All good. It was great to see. Like we're saying about these decks failing, like some of these decks were piloted to a relatively good record. It is important when you look at all this stats and data. For example, your 9 and 5 at people, for example, finishing. There's a good strong possibility that their standard decks sucked, because they went 3-0 and 3-1 in draft, and then they went 3-6 across the way. So please, if you're looking at decks and you're looking to net deck in, because
Look at the constructed win rate, which
yeah,
I believe you can do on Goldfish.
you can do, yeah. But look at where everything is at as far as that's concerned, because you might just find yourself debated like you would like you can do on some of these sites sometimes, and gone, oh yeah, band airbending went 8-6. Well, no, band airbending went shit. And
Yeah, the only ban airbending player that did well was Guillermo Selimovic. Can I just mention as well, this deck is $920?
yeah, and that's ridiculous. Do you know why that's even more ridiculous? We clickbaited ourselves last week in a short where that exact same stat was $820. So the deck's the deck's average base price has gone up $100 in a week.
And it's not even that good.
yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, the mana base isn't even there yet, right? Like,
yeah, when we get Hallowed Fountain and Temple Garden, it's going to be a hell of a lot better. Yeah, so we have Guillermo, who went 6-2. Javier went 5-3, and Javier is a much better Magic player than anyone who listens to this podcast. If you are even close to Javier and you listen to this podcast, let us know. Message Dave on socials. We'll get you on.
Yeah, and come and tell us how wrong we are about our listener base.
Please do. But yeah, so going through these, like you have Shuhei, for example, went 6-2 with Sultai Reanimator. That's all well and good, but you need to do well in draft at these events.
Yeah.
Especially the World Championship, because there's one less round of standard on each day. So people are really looking at this and going, oh my God, there's 5 or 4 Izzet Lessons decks in the top 8. There's one Izzet Looting deck. They're all playing blue and red apart from Sultai. All 8 decks are blue. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. Blue's probably overrepresented in the format, but also all of these players did really well in draft. It's not just their constructed deck.
Yeah, that is what is often overlooked. And there is a certain subset of players who, like, we see, especially on the RCQ circuits, because what they do really well. They're really good constructed players. They draft at the top. Drafting is like huge, and like we saw some comments from some of the British boys who were there, like shout out Alex Rowan. His result was fantastic, but it was underpinned by fantastic drafting. Had a solid run, but again saw some of like the heaviest hitters in draft possible. And your draft game needs to be as good as your constructed game. You can't just wing it, because the chances that you're going 8-0 in constructed are very, very low.
Yeah, exactly. And your chances of going 6-0 in draft are also very, very low. I will say, shout out Ben Stark, who also did well in this event. I've got a lifetime 1-0 record against Ben Stark in Limited. And since then, I've basically stopped playing Limited. I'm not saying that's so I can hold that record for the rest of time.
Yes.
But it is somewhere in the back of my head for sure. I got exceedingly lucky. I won on like a multi 5. I demonic tutored basically every single turn, and he got blown out by me having one exact mythic. One of the most ridiculous games of Magic of my life I've ever played. I did not deserve to win, and he is much better than I am. Just for clarity.
Sounds like my one clout point of having a 100% win rate over Ben Jones on Magic Online, but that was just during him doing a multi 5 and a multi 4 during the testing period. So, but I'll still take it.
I have a 100% win rate over Aspiring Spike on the Daybreak account as well, and there's video evidence of it.
That is true.
And I was playing a brew as well. He can't even claim, I was playing a meta deck. I was playing Rakdos Weapons Manufacturing before Shuhei played Blue-Red at the Pro Tour. I outbrewed him once, and I'm going to hold that for the rest of time.
There is an argument that the Get Your Deck Out channel put that archetype out before anyone else did. We didn't put it out well, but
No.
we put it out there.
We did the wrong version of it, but it was at least worth experimenting with. We'll also ignore the fact that the Daybreak account probably has like a 7% win rate, but we'll move past that one, because every time I go on it, I see that you're like 1-3 in the league, and every time you go on it, I'm 1-3 in the league. So we'll ignore all of that.
We've stopped asking each other, can we cancel the league on it? Because we just realised, it's no good, is it?
Well, we'll just log in, drop, load in a new deck. Oh, this one's shit too. Oh, well, on we go.
Shout out Daybreak, though. It helps us definitely at least understand what all these pros are doing. But at least then let's play the cards and sort of check out how everything's looking. But talking about playing with cards, see, there is still some Magic to play for this year. Maybe the constructed end of year for like the actual organized play system, but as we decided here at the channel in partnership with Full Fire TCG in Gloucester in the UK, we just wanted to make sure that there was an end of year or start of year extravaganza on January the 4th to look out for. There has been qualifiers now from the last 2 months in total, where people have been getting their seat in our £1,000 first prize giveaway tournament. We still need to qualify. Well, at least Scott does, because I already have my seat. But we were locked in for a team trios this weekend a couple of weeks ago.
I will be expecting the homie scoop, just so you know.
The homie scoop into the final. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what the discussion brings. But we are playing a very, very interesting format, the Unified Standard format, which has actually brought up a lot of great debate, like a lot of great competition. It's brought some people out from the woodwork that we know we're going to see for the first time for a while, because they're like, oh, I can bring my deck that's a little bit off because I can synergize with my mate's deck, and I can be in this particular color and it's not going to matter. Like, so just for the people
So
who
what are you
haven't-
playing, Dave? Simica or Boroid?
Of course. Jam the Jackal. Jam it in there. No, so we are that was just made sense from a point of view of, at the moment, a very clear deck to do in standard is control, and if blue white control is just a pretty decent deck, so you can kind of like lean everyone that way. And then our third seat, I don't even know at this point. They're going to be playing something in Izzet, like, shout out Idris. You'll get there, mate. But interesting way to play it. Obviously, for those who don't know Unified Team Trios is where you can't put, except for basic lands, any other copies in any of your other decks. You can't even go like one card in your deck and 3 card in someone else's. And you effectively pick a seat at the start. So if you are A or you're B or you're C, you play the A on the other team, and so therefore you kind of can't metagame that either. You just basically get a bit of a random drawing. So it's another additional wrinkle to it, is you could have been great against the other 2 players in the team, but you hit the shit matchup when you're playing. So
it's just randomness, isn't it? It's just a lot of team trios is in the deck building phase, right? And who gets Soul Guide Lantern, who gets Starting Town, who gets Multiversal Passage. All of these are really relevant questions. I know you mentioned blue-white control. I'd be scared of that because it basically needs Multiversal Passage or Starting Town. Then you're losing that from a different deck, right? So weirdly enough, mana bases are a huge question in this format, and it's the first team event I've played in a while. But yeah, I was surprised how awkward mana bases could be and how narrow you need to be in some ways. I'm not going to give away what my team's playing, because shout out my partner Jen and JMF, who we had on the pod a couple of weeks ago. That's our team, and I'm not going to give away because we've tested a lot. We've actually taken this pretty seriously. We've put some work in. We've managed to free up some time. If it goes well, I'll talk about it next week on the podcast. If it doesn't go well, you'll never hear me mention it ever again.
But you will see it on a vlog the week after. So that is part of the Christmas schedule.
Yeah, you'll see me getting probably quite upset with myself. That's something that normally keeps me away from team events, and something that I've wanted to work on as a player is if I'm playing in a solo event and I make a mistake and that causes me to lose, I get annoyed at myself. People often read it as me tilting off at the game. If you've ever seen me and you think I'm tilting off, then I gravely apologise. Sometimes I do tilt, no one's immune to it. But more often than not, it's me being annoyed at myself because I've seen something that I could have done that I didn't do at the time, and I'm just annoyed. And it's at me, and I'm really bad at expressing that. When you make a mistake and it's not just a win for you, it's a win for two of your really good friends as well, everything gets tripled, everything gets magnified. Every mistake I made, every hand that I think I should have mulliganed, every card I wish I had in my sideboard, everything just gets turned up. And part of my journey as a Magic player and conquering the mental game of Magic in particular is I need to just do it at some point, and I need to just get over the fact that we all make mistakes. It is what it is. I can only do my best.
Yeah, we all have that, don't we? Like, I think mine this year, and for one of our one of the pods we'll have over Christmas, and full disclosure, we will be pre-recording. We love you all, and we will respond in time to your comments. But we've got one last hurrah of eating lots of food this Christmas before we try and get ourselves in tip-top shape in 2026.
We can try.
We can try. Is just reflecting on what improvements you can make, and definitely for me, my improvements I made is like when you need to take it seriously, is taking it seriously and focusing in. To be the best player that you possibly can, because
mine's just play the fucking meta decks. I need to stop brewing so much.
Yeah, but also
focusing in
fun,
is
right?
one for me as well. Have fun, but also just play the meta decks. Winning is fun. And I'm the same as you though. I need to lock in more.
We'll be continuing to lock in more into 2026, but definitely here and also with the channel, we'll be locking in with more content for you as well, and we will be having fun in the content whilst we're away locking in journeys to RCQs and events and beyond.
Power creep will return.
Just crazy busy schedules. Yes, as we all know, Scott has been adulting. I've gone and done something new in my life, which has been a grown-up moment as well. So we'll be back in 2026 with all of those shows, because finally we'll have the schedule and the real life cash available, because right now it would all be PayPal credit if we were completely honest with ourselves. We'll be back next Tuesday for you lot to talk about how the weekend's gone, how the meta is evolving, and just seeing what's out there, what people are playing. There was no Pioneer news, so we might have some Pioneer news.
I do have a little present for you for the vlog, specifically related to that. That's all I'm going to give you. That means if you're listening to this and you want to find out what it is, you're going to have to watch the vlog video when Dave gets around to editing it. But I have one final question for you, David.
Yes.
What's your team name?
I did do it. Hang on. What did I put it on the ticket?
Is it not Team Get Your Deck Out?
It was, team. But we were Team Boomer Get Your Deck Out, I think, if I'm right in saying.
Boomer Get Your Deck Out.
Or cool, Boomers. Boomers.
We're Team Put Your Decks Away. So
sounds good. As you can see, repping the black Get Your Deck Out shirts. These should be available to you sometime in the new year, when we get our act together. Scott does have one. They're in the bag here. I just haven't seen him for a couple of days. If you're getting your decks out, or you're gonna be putting them away because we've hit the end of the year, enjoy the pod. Stay with us. Have a great week. See you on the next one.